football, babies.
Thank you, Irene.
Thank you, Irene.
Boys, you want to talk some football?
Yes.
You want to do some? You want to do some like Madden rearranging? I know, Ray. You got the new Madden I learned on Twitter, and the hurricane was coming. Did you create your fantasy league and set up your depth
I
chart?
don't create that. I just go in franchise mode, play the Patriots. That's all I do.
You picked the Patriots?
Yeah. Always.
Ew.
What a loser. Okay, well, welcome to the Simple Minds Sports Show Wednesday edition. New England Patriot depth chart talk. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, rate, review. If you're listening on the podcast, do the same. Whatever you do, please tell your friends, and welcome to the Simple Minds Sports Show. The Simple Minds Sports Show, as usual, is brought to you by White Birch Brewing in Nashua, New Hampshire. Address, please.
460 Amherst Street.
The good side of Amherst Street. Get down there, get yourself a pint, get yourself a flight. They have beautiful, colorful flights. Get yourself a hat. I have mine on again today. Bill has his on. Mine was a gift. Bill's was stolen. And if you can't get to the brewery, then get to your local beer store. Wherever you get it, tell them the Simple Minds boys sent you. White Birch Brewing. All right, boys, here's our quick little snapshot show. I've had a hard time talking tonight.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, man, tough. I just want to run through the depth chart, talk about some of the maybe some tough choices, maybe some non-tough choices, and see what it's going to look like at the end. We got 53 spots. We got to try and get 53 spots by the end. I did it real quick earlier today, and I was at 57. So there's going to be four tough cuts here. 4 tough cuts. We're going to start quarterback, and the only question here is, does Hoyer make the team?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the only reason is so he can run the scout team and let Matt kind of focus on learning how to play quarterback and not worrying about running that scout team. They did a couple of years ago with Stidham, or it was Garoppolo when they got Deshaun Kaiser. That one year, I believe that was him.
Can you run the scout team from the practice team, from the practice squad?
Yeah, he could. I mean,
I don't think he's making a team. I think this team has too many other players in other positions for Brian Hoyer to make it. And Bill, you mentioned it before. This is where I got the idea, and the Patriots have done it before in the past. I can go both ways on this. Ray knows what I'm talking about because but they have too many other positions where they need a lot of players. Brian Hoyer can do what he needs to do from the practice squad and from not on the team. However, your quarterback position is in such flux, especially if Mac Jones gets the starting position.
Or if Cam gets hurt, dude, think about that. If Cam gets hurt, then you're cutting another guy on your roster that you potentially kept over Brian Hoyer. That's the only thing, because if on the practice squad, then you got to bring him to the active roster. There's going to be cuts there.
Jacoby Myers played quarterback in college, right?
Jesus.
Yeah,
we know the best touchdown throw last year.
They can pluck him off the practice squad, though.
Yeah, they can.
If someone gets hurt any weeks, anyone can take him. So
he's getting a side hustle deal from the Crafts to stick around, be the mentor. You're not on the 53, but if we need you, you'll come back. I think that's the smart play. We'll see who does it, because like I said, these positions are kind of stacked when we get moving. The first one being running back, you got 6 of them. 5, so you got Harris
Michelle.
Sorry, let me pull it
James White, Ramadama Ding Dong Stevenson, JJ Taylor, and Bolden. Yeah.
So the questions here are JJ Taylor and Bolden. I think JJ Taylor has done enough to make this team. They love guys like this. You have James White. You have James White, but I think JJ Taylor fits a different mold. The JJ White is Deion Lewis, Kevin Falk,
JJ Taylor.
Sorry, James White.
He's more Deion. I would say Deion Lewis more of because he's more elusive in the backfield. You saw a spin move. I think he's earned enough, especially now he's a lot of his special teams. He's returning kicks. So, I mean, you can I expect him to sneak on. I don't think Bolden's going to make the team. I think you're going to run 5 running backs, but it also depends on a lot of healthier tight ends. You know what I mean? I think because that's an area that is your strength in running back right now, because your top 4 is pretty much set. So if you say you have to keep a Matt Lacoste, who I don't expect to make the team at tight end, I know we're going to get there in a second, but if you got to keep a guy like him based around injuries to Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry and Devin Asiasi hasn't shown a lot. So, I mean, that seems like an area of a strength you can kind of cut on the back end. I think JJ Taylor could potentially slide right on that practice squad. So I mean, that's my only line of thinking of the reason why if JJ Taylor doesn't make it, I think he deserved to be on there just from what we've seen. But the question rounds with the health of the tight ends kind of scare me too. And you might have to keep an extra guy there.
I'd love to see them cut Brandon Bolden. Not that I have anything against him, but how many special teams specialists do you need on a team? You already got 3 or 4 of them. So I don't need to see Bolden. And I'd keep the 5, and I might look at a trade, which we'll get into next year, Ray. Hey, Pam, Aaron, Ray, can you keep track of this depth chart in the 53? So we got two roster spots at quarterback. I'm going to call it 5 at running back right now. You might have to do some math in a second because we're going to move to wide receiver where they are thin. We know they're thin. You got Aguilar, you got Bourne, you got Jacoby Myers. And then from there, I think Gunner's making the team. I think he's pretty much
Gunner's an all-pro punt returner. He's making the team. So yeah, that's 5.
That's 4.
4.
Now your question marks are N'Keal Harry, who committed football suicide diving for a stupid ball on the field the other day. Christian Wilkerson, he's done. Devin Ross is done. And the Trey Nixon kid, he's a practice squad player for sure. So I'm looking at 4 in N'Keal Harry. I'm going to call that roster spot 4 wide receivers. This is where I might do some subtraction here, Ray. Could you package Sony Michel and N'Keal Harry and go get another wide receiver?
No, because no one wants them.
Yeah. You're going to have to
Sony
put some
Michel,
draft picks in there.
both first round. They're both prior first round.
No one
picks.
wants them. You're lucky to get a 6. You're lucky to get a day 3 pick for N'Keal Harry. Look at his fucking game tape. See him try to block his own guy. You're the one that fucking
Forget N'Keal Harry. Forget N'Keal Harry. He's the throw-in. He's the kicker in case you can get something.
No one wants Sony Michel.
Sony Michel, who led them to a 2018 Super Bowl, who has looked okay. He looks better in the passing game. Who's the dude in Arizona who don't have any running backs that you've mentioned a lot, Ray? He was a former 2nd or 3rd round pick. Kirk. Christian
Kirk, yeah.
I like Kirk.
That might be a good swap. I've heard that mentioned before on the radio.
They just signed a running back though, and they have Chase Edmonds there that they're kind of elevating.
Last year,
yeah. They like him a lot.
I'm just saying, you got a surplus in running backs and not in wide receiver. We know that it's not totally up to the wide receiver. The wide receivers as pass catchers. The tight end is going to play a big role there as long as they're healthy, like you said. But Ray, can we just call that 4? If they carry more than 4 wide receivers, I think it's a mistake. And I wouldn't be surprised if they dumped N'Keal Harry on IR before the season, which would mean half the season gone.
No, 3 games. 3 games.
I thought it was 6.
Not anymore, dude. They adopted the COVID rules from last year, and it's a permanent rule now. And there's unlimited players. I guess you could throw.
That's
on
a
and
fantastic rule change. The NFL is good at rule changes. Hunter Henry,
except for pass interference.
Yeah, well, they changed it a lot.
They changed it back.
Devin Asiasi, Matt Lacoste, R.I.P. to Dalton Keene, Ray. And let's throw Jakob Johnson in this tight end, running back, fullback role. Let me just ask you the question straight up: is Jakob Johnson making the 53-man roster?
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No.
I say yes, because that's how all of our running backs thrived. When Sony Michel had his rookie season, he had Davis Andrews, and he had a great fullback in front of him. So I think that is the key for a great running system, and that's all we're going to be doing this year is run. So yes, I think he makes the take.
Let me ask you the question differently, Bill, and this is another trying to trick question because I think Matt Lacoste is going to land on the IR to start the season too after getting shelled in Philly. Would you rather have Matt Lacoste or Jakob Johnson?
Johnson.
I think he's making the team. I think he's going to make the roster because of that. You'll see Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, and Devin Asiasi as listed as your primary tight ends. But you have Jakob Johnson who can fill that role. You got Lacoste who can float in and off that IR and fill in if injuries come up. Other than that, if those guys can't stay healthy, you are thin. How much money did you dump in there? $30 million or something on the tight end?
Something stupid like that, yeah.
So those guys better be on the field. They better stay healthy. I have confidence Jonnu Smith was because he's a fucking tank. Hunter Henry
probably just sitting him out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Hunter Henry has battled injuries his entire career, so he's certainly a question mark. All right, Ray. So let's call that 4 spots on the 53-man right there. Okay. Let's go to the offensive line. I'm going to group these all together. Spoiler alert, I think they're keeping 8, and I think they're pretty fucking locked in. We know who the starters are: Isaiah Wynn, Mike Anunwa,
Anunwa,
David Andrews. We love David Andrews. Shaq Mason and Trent Brown, who reportedly has been the best offensive lineman in camp, by the way. Here's my backups. Tell me if you disagree. Justin Herron.
Around.
Ted Carreras.
Cares.
I was trying to do the
Oh,
Ted
sorry.
fucking Bill. And James Ferentz. The other guys that would be in contention would be Kajust, I think. And that's it. Maybe the Coin Cunningham kid.
Cunningham hasn't played well. Yeah, I'd go with that.
I don't remember him carrying more than 8 very often.
I'd go with that, especially since we're running out of time.
We've got a little extra time than we thought. So Ray, you agree with that offensive line? The starters are set, and that's not a bad backup run either, to be honest with you. That offensive line should be number 1 in the NFL this year.
I'd even say maybe even 9 they'd keep, just because they like to swing those guys around a lot. So there could be another swing guy like James Ferentz, you said. So yeah,
Cunningham would be the other option there.
Yeah,
or
I say 9 actually. I'm gonna go 9.
Then you got to cut a running back or tight end. That's too much. If you're going 9,
you're going to lose a running back, or you're going to lose a front 7 guy if you're going to go 9.
Well, okay, then 8, and then one of those guys hopefully gets on the practice squad and stays there.
They'll get on the practice squad. Yeah,
okay, so
I mean,
we'll go 8.
Kajust, Sherman, and Cunningham. Out of those 3 guys, one of them will land on the practice squad. You'll have depth when it comes to shitty offensive linemen, but when it comes to your top 8, yeah, those guys are set in stone, I think.
Yeah.
All right, let's go D-line all together here. So the Patriots play a base 3-4 generally, and they should with this team, with the amount of linebackers that they have. So you're talking about 3 defensive linemen starting the game. What do you want to have? 6, 7 at most on the D-line? And I think that's where we're going to land pretty close. So you got let me just give you the names, Bill. Dietrich Wise, lock. Lawrence Guy, lock. Devin Gottschall, lock.
Yeah.
Henry Anderson.
Cut.
You think?
Ooh.
Yeah, he's not been playing well. He's only guaranteed $3 million that they spent on him. You've seen Bill cut guys like that, and he was playing late into the last 2 preseason games, well after the starters going. He has not looked good in camp. He's definitely, if you need to pinch at the defensive lineman, because there's been a lot of better guys. Barrymore looks like a stud, obviously, him being a lock, even Bill Murray. And I believe Davis is another guy they're kind of high on this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Anderson gets cut. And that's been the talk I've been reading the last week or so, that he's again, what you said, the roster is on the front 7 linebackers, front 7 is real deep.
Yeah.
And if you're going to pinch there, I thought a surprise cut. Well, never mind. Go ahead. Would be him.
Let's take your word for it. Let's cut Anderson and let's put Barrymore in there because he's been great. Winovich is also credited as a DN. So, you got Winovich, Carl Davis, Montravius Adams, who came over, the Bill Murray guy who they like. So that'd be 8. I don't think that's about 8.
I think they'll keep about that. Bill loves to run guys in and out. I think, you'd probably keep that if Miller, Raekwon was there, if he didn't blow his ACL, because you probably load up more on linebacker there. Because you got some question marks with Jeffries or Jennings battling injuries. So I mean, all
right. Well, let's call the D-line 8 for now, and let's see where we go. We've got some cut candidates there. We're going to move up here into the linebackers. Everyone's favorite linebacker for the Patriots this year, Matthew Judon, Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, Josh Uche, Juwan Bentley, Ronnie Perkins are my locks. That's 6. I think you got to put Anthony Jennings on the team. That's 7. And the other guys that stand out to me are Harvey Langai, who people are high on, and Brandon King.
I'll go 6. I'll go 6 here.
Oh, you got 7 at least, my man.
I'm going 6. You
don't need Brandon King. He hasn't played in 2 years, and he's primarily a special teams guy. You're loaded on special teams with a lot of different positions. I think he's gone. Lange, he had a lot of promise earlier in his career. Then he got hurt, got car accident at the end of training camp. He got cut, played a couple decent seasons with the Jets. I think you can kind of slide him on special teams. I don't know. He had one good game against the 3s and the 4s against Philly. Good interception. I don't think we kept a good 8 on the front front line, D lineman. I mean, you got to pinch some numbers here, and I'm cutting Langy.
That's fine. You're still at 7.
That's it. Yeah, 7's good. I don't want 8.
Judon,
7's fine.
Hightower, Van Noy, Uche, Bentley, Jennings, and Perkins. That's 7.
Yep.
Now, you might want to look at Bentley and Jennings as 2 guys that might be on the bubble, but Bentley's looked really good in now his position that he's not isolated on an island out there as the only linebacker. And Anthony Jennings is a first or second round pick that they're not willing to give up on from Alabama.
Second or third round?
Second round, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm calling that a pretty strong 7. Go into the secondary here. Let's go cornerbacks. J.C. Jackson, Stephon Gilmore, Jonathan Jones, Jalen Mills are your locks. That's 4.
Justin Bethel, he's a cornerback. They've been playing him a lot of cornerback because, again,
We can call him whatever you want, whether he's a safety or not. But let's just stick with cornerback. I got 4 there. The other guys in that role, the big name that jumps out to me that I think should be cut is Juwan Williams.
Yep. He's looked like shit for the past 2 preseason games, and he hasn't had a good camp.
So he might be gone. Michael Jackson, has got some play. D. Virgin has been making some plays. And this Miles Bryant, who profiles more as a safety, has also been out there. So that's 4, 5, 6.
Pick your
7.
poison. It's Jackson or Williams. Pick them. Pick one.
Jackson.
That's your guy. That's a guy you're keeping because I think they're fighting for the 5th cornerback job.
So we're going to call that 5 or 6 cornerbacks.
5. I expect 5.
5 cornerbacks. Start it down, Pamela and Ray.
Yes, sir.
At safety, you got McCourty, Adrian Phillips, Kyle Duggar. If you want to throw Bethel in there, who's a special teamer, but let's throw him in there. That's 4. They like that Cody Davis kid. I don't know if he'll make the team, but they like him.
Another special team guy.
Another special team guy. The other guy that's popped in camp is the Malik Gant.
Yeah, they just brought him back too.
Yeah, bubble guy. A safe bet is 4 roster spots there. If we got to get it under 53 at 53, then let's put that at 4. Then your special teams kicker, whether that's Quinn Nordine.
Hopefully, God hopes.
I think it's Nick Folk.
That's 1. Jake Bailey, the best punter ever, is 1. And then your long snapper. I love Cardona, but is he really necessary?
Yes.
You got to get to 53.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Okay,
I
he's
expect him
hurt,
to
but
be
he's there. Add it up, Ray. What do you got? You got to use your calculator.
50.
That's 50. Oh,
That's 50.
shit!
Matthew Slater, 51.
Oh.
Justin Bethel's. Well, you already counted him. He's there.
Bethel's in there. Slater's going to make the list at 51.
Throw in Brian Hoyer because I expect him to keep 3.
That's 52.
So you got room, Bill. Belichick.
You can take Brandon Bolden back. You can put Brandon Bolden
See
in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
This has been the Simple Mind Sports Show, Wednesday edition. What the hell did we just do? New England Patriots depth chart talk. Tune in on Thursday for our special guest interview with the voice of the New England Patriots. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.